West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't understand why this is an issue.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Woo! That'll wake you up. I always felt like there should be a woo at the end of that. That's in the recorded version. But now I will provide it for you. Good morning, 6 a.m., Mile High City, on this Monday, October 13th, 2025. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill's out this week, and we've got just a stable of great progressive engagement debate that's going to take place. Joining us today, Ted Trimpa, Principal and CEO of the Trimpa Group. Good morning, Mr. Trimpa. Thank you for joining us.
It's happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Glad to have you too. It's Monday morning. Hey, we're kicking it off.
We have to be. Have to be.
So the 6 o'clock hour is really fun because this is the one where the people's alarm clocks are going off, right? So they're waking up to our voices, and we get them going, right? Just get
That's
them out
what
of bed.
we have to do.
It's going to be a fun day. It's a historic day. Live right now, Trump addressing the Knesset, families celebrating as the hostages have been returned in Israel. Blake Olson's going to give us all the news on that. We'll be covering that. It's also Columbus Day, or is it Indigenous Peoples Day?
It's Indigenous Peoples Day, Jeff. Come on. We're not going to celebrate taking land from the tribes.
Oh boy, we're going to get all into it. We're going to kick it off early. We've got that to talk about. We're going to be talking about the Supreme Court conversion therapy ban case, plus all the Israel-Gaza stuff. Breaking news happening today. And speaking of news, let's get to it with Blake Olson with news and comment.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Monday morning, 38 and clear, expecting a high of 61 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. As Jeff and Ted were just mentioning, our top story.
Let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free.
All remaining living Israeli hostages have been released by Hamas. DJT in Israel this morning speaking and marking the first phase of the peace plan.
To send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect, and I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. And it's pretty unusual for you to see that, but it happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East.
Peace, not wars. It sounded like a heckler, but I guess it was someone involved in government there protesting. Peace, not wars, DJT continues.
But when you settle 8 wars in 8 months, that means you don't like war. Everyone thought I was going to be brutal. In fact, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at him, he's going to go into war with everybody. And actually, she said, he's got a personality that's all about war. No, and my personality actually is all about stopping wars. And
that's true. At least he has proven that so far. The federal government shutdown continues with little signs of progress. To end it, the Democrats could end it today if they wanted to, but they don't want that. VPJD.
This isn't a deal making. This isn't a negotiation. This is hostage taking. The Chuck Schumer has not said to us, this is what we need. He said that unless you give us what we need, we're going to shut down the government. That is a totally different thing. If Chuck Schumer wants to come into the Oval Office or come to my house, he is welcome to talk about how to fix health care policy for Americans. Of course, we want to lower insurance premiums. We want to make sure that the skyrocketing health care costs of the Biden administration start to level off and hopefully come down. That's one conversation. But you don't come into the Oval Office and say, unless you, the President of the United States, give us everything that I want, I'm going to shut down the government. I'm going to...
3 people, boy, that is the truth, and we all know what's going on there. 3 people, including 1 child, died Sunday after they were involved in a fiery semi-crash on westbound I-70 near mile marker 208 in Summit County. The semi swerved on and off the road and then into a concrete barrier, overturned and caught fire. All 3 victims pronounced dead on the scene. Many government offices in the city and county are closed today. It is Indigenous Peoples Day.
No, it is not. It is
yes.
That is a state-based holiday. It's not a federal holiday. It's Columbus Day.
Exactly.
By the way, Trump saying that Christopher Columbus was the original American hero and claiming, we're back, Italians.
I saw that. I heard that. Well, he's right. Absolutely. I love it. Hey, good to have you back, Jeff, by the way.
Well, thanks.
All right. I know you had a little fun
I heard
this.
Pete made you the co-host.
Man, I love it when Pete comes in, man. I just sit back and we just start blabbing. And then I forget why I'm here. And I think he may forget also. But we had a blast. Yeah, we had a blast.
And Peter Boyles got you a T-shirt, Ted.
He did. Sturgis T-shirt.
Are you a motorcycle rider?
No. But Peter's one of my best friends, so it's anything. He always goes to Sturgis, just to think how old Peter is, and he still does all this. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he told me he was actually getting to the point where he might get back on a 2-wheel bike. He's been kind of riding the tricycles.
Yeah.
Right? And he's over 80 at this point. Yeah. So
you'd never know it.
Oh, exactly.
He's a spry 80-year-old. My mother's in her 80s, and she doesn't get out of bed.
Wow.
So,
he's got this sharpness about him.
Yep. So that's why he still does radio.
Ted, did you know my dad did the show after Pete in the 70s?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the show? I didn't know that.
So it was Jim and Woody's show, but it was after Pete and Bob Lee. I don't know which station they were on, but my dad was like, the fact Pete is still with us is a miracle because he was a wild guy during those times.
He lived wildly.
He bought a bar so he could write off his drinking as a business expense. And then he shows up in 2025 and is able to, engage and jump right into all this. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's
Very
a master.
smart.
He's a master.
Yeah.
I just wish I could see the days when he had the Corvette. Just seeing him riding around with the Corvette.
Yeah.
So
with the fro and the Corvette. He had kind of a little curly fro, didn't he, back in the day? I remember seeing Peter. He had that curly hair, didn't he? Kind of a fro look.
Yeah, that was before my time.
Yeah, before my time.
He's
I ran into Pete one time when I worked at Channel 9, and I loved it because he always, he makes everybody feel like, he's your best friend, and he's known you for years. I love it. He's like Irv Brown was that same way, and I turned around the corner and ran right into him at Channel 9. Never met him before, and he's like, hey, man, what's going on? And I was like, man, I was a Peter Boyles fan probably 20 years before that, so... Just good stuff.
Thank you to Pete for filling in. And
yeah, That's awesome. Hey, we had the Broncos yesterday, so I know you probably watched that in London at 7:30 in the morning.
7:30 in the morning, football game.
So
I tell you, it was so interesting. I was in the Reno airport and looked up. It's 7:30 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, there's football on. It was like stunning to me. It was like the weirdest feeling to be watching football.
It
and then
is.
also
watching
a game where it's like, oh my God, we should be playing better than that.
Yeah, right. We're going to fly all the way to London and win this thing on field goals.
That's right. And exactly. Good point. Well, here's the defense from Sunday.
Hard for Justin Fields. See if he can get more. Runs out of time, and he can't run out of the pocket.
Run out of time.
Runs out of time.
And Justin Fields ran out of time in the pocket.
Fields tries to avoid the rush and cannot.
9 sacks by the Broncos. 1 touchdown scored by Denver, as Jeff said.
Knicks wide open touchdown. Nate Atkins.
And that was all it took for the victory. They only need 13 points to beat the Jets. And Sean Payton after the game.
We'll look at the film, and there'll be a number of things in the kicking game and offensively we want to clean up. But nonetheless, it was great to get the win. They're hard to come by. And especially the way it finished late in that game. You know, they're just on the cusp of field goal range, and we made the plays we needed to. So with that.
And a win is a win in the NFL, and that's basically all that matters. One other note to ex-Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez, you may have seen this, speaking out after being booked in Indianapolis Sunday following his hospital release. The Fox Sports analyst told reporters outside the Marion County Jail that he's recovering slowly and that it is a long process after posing for mugshots and getting fingerprinted on assault and battery charges. I can't even imagine this scene if you were there. Perry Toll, 69-year-old truck driver, claims that he stabbed Sanchez in the chest in self-defense after the drunk former NFL star attacked him at a hotel loading dock last weekend. It's just crazy. I don't know.
Sanchez deserves to get prosecuted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's hard to imagine how a situation like that could actually happen.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
It's like what was the scene?
Yeah, boy, you got that right.
So wasn't he running wind sprints?
Yeah, I heard he went in the alley or whatever. He was running wind sprint. I mean, like
that's what
Billy
happens
said.
when I drink. I'm like, you know what?
Right. Who knows what he combined with the alcohol, or
yeah,
if
there's
he
got to be
did.
something else there.
It's just wild, man. So thankfully he's alive, and the other guy's alive as well. But bad things happen after midnight.
Yes,
I think it was
100%.
You know. All right. We'll have much more this morning on DJT in Israel. It's 36 in Englewood, 37 in Westminster, 38 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue with Ted in the seat for Billy. Blake Olson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Your Denver forecast here on 710 KNUS this early Monday. A few passing clouds this morning. Temperatures right around 40 degrees as you start the day. For the rest of your Monday, Columbus Day, expect mostly sunny skies and breezy conditions. Highs near 65. Partly cloudy tonight, lows down to 45. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Live in studio with us is Ted Trimpa. He's the CEO, principal, leader of the Trimpa Group. Ted, I so wish you were on our side. He's one of the smartest guys I know. And I think he's a brilliant strategist and has been really central to the direction that Colorado has gone. Now, I disagree with it, and I don't think Colorado's flourishing, but I do give you props. You turned a right-leaning, purplish state into a deep blue state, from my perspective, and you did that by building out entities and foundations and groups that were involved in the political process. So all that by way of background. Welcome, Ted Trimpa.
Well, it's great to be here this morning.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it.
So it's a historic day. We're watching right now the president just wrapping up a speech he's given at the Knesset. Hostages released. And the bodies of dead Jews from October 7th and those attacks that took place, still not all of them have been released, but the 20 remaining, by the way, only male hostages. Couldn't imagine what it was like to be female and have to go into that. But being released. Lots to talk about here. What do you think about President Trump's leadership? Let's start there in securing this peace deal.
We've got to give him credit.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at what Trump is doing domestically, and it's nauseating. It's depressing. It's not something that I would want. However, I have to say on foreign policy, what he's been doing has been really incredible. I mean, you can't see how previous presidents would have been able to do, I think, what he's been able to do. And I think a lot of that is, one, just sheer will. And I think another one, and I think this is something and I was thinking about with my husband, who's at another network, and it's Trump doesn't use the diplomatic corps. You know, it's I'm going to trust my friends to be the ones that go over and actually do the negotiating. So you don't end up having kind of the deep state, and yes, I use that term, the deep state kind of running all of this. You have folks that call him, say, hey, this is what I think is going on. This is what I think we can do. And, you know, it looks like it's just this too tight of a group, and it's all just about family. But, you know, sometimes it takes family to get stuff done. And I think he deserves kudos for it. Now, does he deserve the Peace Prize? No. But he's, you know.
Why doesn't he deserve the Peace Prize? He's negotiating. Where we ended like 6 wars at this point?
Yeah,
who else deserves the Peace Prize?
Well, but I have to. It's maybe we should think about, you know, how much peace he's doing for us over here in the United States at home. That's the last thing I would say he's doing is helping with peace at home. You know, taking soldiers and putting them out of the, you know, other states, cities. You know, taking kids out of churches. I mean, there's a lot here to complain about. But the great thing for him right now is all the press is about his Gaza peace stuff, the wars that he started. And that means that they can do a lot of other stuff behind the scenes here, and media's not going to cover it.
I was talking with friends in the administration recently, and they were remarking, these guys have been in politics for 20 plus years, and they were remarking that the Trump administration just goes and gets things done. It's fascinating to be working in politics where they just go do stuff. If they see something that's broken, they go try to fix it. And I compare that with Kamala Harris's book. I read her 107 Days, and I don't think she was presidential material, in part because...
read the book and you'll see that she wasn't.
Poor Doug. Having your marital issues put into a book is probably not the wisest. But I noticed that her solution to problems was to form a committee. Well, we were working on the border. I formed a committee. We were trying to negotiate peace between Gaza and Israel. I formed a committee. We were trying to deal with rising costs in food. I formed a committee. Like it just reminds me of this
level. There's a certain level with her where she was set up. You know, it's not.
I believe that entirely.
It wasn't like the Biden White House was trying to help her out. I mean, in terms of setting her up on immigration, then not letting her go down to the border. I mean, what do you expect people to say? They say, well, if you're doing something about the border, shouldn't you like at least visit it? And she couldn't. And so I think in some instances, She was doomed to fail because she was set up to fail. Now, I would agree, the whole committee thing, because I read the book as well.
Yeah.
The first part of the book was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then you get about halfway through it, and it just started to drone on.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a list of, well, I would have done this, and I would have done that, and I can't believe they did this. And I have to admit, I listened to it as an audiobook because I was afraid
I did too.
I was afraid I'd fall asleep if I tried to read it.
You and me listening to the sultry tones of Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
She, and I saw it as a setup because I didn't see anybody else fighting for the nomination. So when Shapiro, like if they, I don't believe that they really generally thought that they could beat Donald Trump. Because if they did, like, it's the presidency, right? Like, you're one or two people away from being the president of the United States, and you don't go into contested convention. You don't try to. I think they all saw the writing on the wall pretty early, and Shapiro and Newsom and the rest of them were like, all right, Kamala.
Who dodged a bullet? Shapiro dodged a bullet.
You're the one. Go.
Little old goofy Tim Walz. Whoop-a-doo. He's the one that comes along. Yeah, hey, I'll raise my hand. I'll do it. It's unfortunate at a certain level we didn't have a competitive convention because I think there were a lot of other candidates out there that are a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure in this environment going that late. Would have been able to win just because of the length of time. I don't think it's necessarily because of her. I think it's a lot of it's because of the time. But I think that there's an extraordinary stable bench of Democrats that could be great presidents. I look forward to it. And for those folks that are out there and they're old, I have one word for them: pasture. Try it. Go there. Eat some grass. We let the young people come up.
Yeah. Well, and I went down to the Bernie Sanders AOC 30,000 person rally in Denver.
Yeah,
I mean, and right now, according to Magellan Strategies, she's the leading candidate. AOC.
Yeah, which is frightening.
Is it? You think so?
For me, I think that the Democratic Party is drifting too far left. I think that the American public isn't necessarily where they are in terms of issues. I think what's happening is people are so frustrated, they're exasperated. They want something that's different. They want something that's loud. I don't think that the policy, though, lines up with where they are. But the challenge is that we're going to have to run through this left in order to get through some of it. Because I'm involved in moderate Democratic politics, and it is really difficult to break through. It's hard to get people to listen to you. But if you're a little bit of a firebrand, and you have the reputation of somebody like AOC or Bernie Sanders, who is going to be using a walker here anytime soon, you just don't get heard, which is really unfortunate.
We've got a lot to talk about because I want to talk about Michael Bennet and Jared Polis, and because I hear what you're saying about that, and then I look at who ends up getting elected in Colorado, and I joke, I think this comes from Tyler Sandberg, that they're pale, male, and stale. But we'll talk about that as well. Ted Trimpa is joining us. Ted is the CEO of the Trimpa Group, a progressive strategist here in Colorado. He's filling in for Bill Thorpe, and he's going to be with us for the entirety of the program. So feel free to dive in and join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line, 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. This is Denver's debate show. This is not an echo chamber. This is not a monologue. You're invited to be a part of the conversation, and you're going to hear stuff today that you're not going to hear on any other program. That's why I'm grateful to have Ted. Ted, I want to go back to the Gaza-Israel thing. So speaking of DNC, I spent 3 days outside the DNC with the Palestinian protesters, walked around with them.
Yeah. That's really great that you do that, by the way. It's compelling, and it's a voice that needs to be heard.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Ted. It was an interesting movement because day one was all things kind of Democrat and progressive. You had lots of rainbow flags, you had the Palestinian flags, and then as the week went on, it just became more and more and more and more kind of Islamist. Right. And the Palestinians were a unique group out of all the different. I've been to anti-ICE rallies and No Kings rallies and stuff like that. They seemed reasonable until just a Israeli flag would show up, and it was like you would kick over a hornet's nest, and they would respond in a rage I've never seen towards an Israeli, just some guy carrying an Israeli flag. Yeah. And I understand he was kind of doing a counter protest, but Bill and I have this debate. I don't think you can live next to people that are motivated to murder you. And if you give them a little bit of space, not all Palestinians, but those that support Hamas, and I was reading this piece in the Washington Post of the former hostage taker who's like, they're so obsessed with murdering and ridding Jews from the Middle East that I don't think you can establish peace with people like that. What do you do with people who have that type of motivation?
It's really difficult. And the thing about it, in terms of that fervor that you're talking about, it's hard to not say that this isn't anti-Semitism. There is an anti-Semitic line that's running through a lot of this. And this isn't just about, oh, we don't want you to have a country. We're not for sure that we can have a country that's next to you. I unfortunately think it's a lot deeper than that, which is very frustrating. I mean, I have to admit, I'm very conservative on Israel. And so as a Democrat, I'm probably in, a club of 3 people. But the Palestinian piece, they have to figure something out. 1/3 of Israel is Arab. There are Palestinians that live in that area, and we have to figure out a way to do something that recognizes them. And I think that it's long as we continue to break down Hamas, as long as we continue to break down Hezbollah, which they've pretty much done, continue to take down the Houthis, taking Iran's proxies away is so important. And I think once we feel like we have that mostly done, then I think that there could be some solutions around the Palestine problem.
What do you think peace is going to look like here? I mean, I don't know if you've read through Trump's peace plan, but it requires Hamas essentially being eliminated from the political stage, right? They can't be elected. They can't have any type of control.
I mean, I don't see a possible solution that could be successful that has Hamas as part of the deal. I mean, there's no evidence that they know how to govern without governing through terror. I mean, the fact that they were using their own people as shields, that is inexcusable. Can you imagine a country that actually does that? And we can't reward that kind of behavior at any level. At the same time, though, Palestinian people aren't going to disappear. So we have to find a place, in some way where they can live safely. And it seems to me, and this is where I'll give Trump credit again, the peace plan that they've put together seems like it could work. With the governing council, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah. But, I mean, one of the critiques that Bill had on this program was that it gives too little power. They're essentially an occupied territory, and it's going to be other nations, including Donald Trump himself, who sits at the chair of this, that's going to control Gaza. But my point being, well, demonstrate you can lead without murdering your neighbor, and then we'll let you have the land. But every time we've given you a little bit of space, you use it to dig deeper tunnels, arm yourselves, train up suicide bombers, and then we end up with more Israelis dying. So, yeah, prove that you can actually be a good neighbor and we'll let you own the land.
Which I think is what they're trying to do. I think that's what they're trying to set up. And it's like, okay, well, prove to us you can do it. And by having other countries that are involved in it, this isn't just a United States thing. So you can't say, oh, it's the United States trying to control the world and telling everybody what to do. It's 4 or 5 nations, I think, are committed in order to have troops
Egypt,
there.
Jordan.
And I don't, and this is the one thing I don't know, because I've read articles that have said different things, whether or not the United States is actually going to have troops in Gaza, as opposed to around and then making sure that humanitarian supplies get in. So, I mean, there may be somebody out there who's listening who knows the answer to that, but I found it interesting, the one article I read where it said, well, U.S. troops won't be in Gaza, but other countries will.
Yeah. I imagine that being the case. I don't think Americans want to see their troops. I mean, I don't know if you've gone through what I've gone through with what we did in Afghanistan and Iraq. I was a big cheerleader of Bush. I was like, yeah, we're going to bring democracy to the world. And after watching friends die over there and billions of dollars being spent, I don't know. I'm done. Like, I don't want to see them in Ukraine. I don't want to see them in Israel. We're happy to support efforts, but American, and when I think about my own boys getting to that age, I'm not going to have their lives sacrificed on somebody else's land.
No, that makes sense. I get it. I'm a little bit more of a hawk, but it's easy for me to be a hawk because I wouldn't be in the military. So, so it's probably not really fair for me to say I can be a hawk when I wouldn't be the one that would be going.
Do you think, though, that some of those Arab countries see the Palestinians as proxies for the battle against the Jews? I'm not just talking Iran, but other Islamists. I ran into this at the Palestinian March where I asked them, like, what's the end goal here? And if you really get into a conversation with them, they'll admit it's global Islamic domination. They want the whole world to be Muslim.
Particularly for Shiites. Shiites. You know, because the Imam still is coming. The last one is still coming. You know, and that's a lot of what drives Iran, is the fact that they're Shiite. And then you look at a lot of Arab nations, most of them are Sunni. You know, and it's still Islamic, but they don't have the same kind of fervor in terms of we're going to try to get rid of Israel. That's not, on their mantra. Are they happy about it? Probably not. But I think that the core being from Iran has been so minimized. We have to continue to strangle that, because that is the funder of all of these threats. Now, is that, Iran goes away, does that mean all this extremism is going to go away? No, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to fight.
That's Ted Trimpa. He's the CEO of the Trimpa Group. He's joining us live in studio today as we're having a discussion all week with conservative, progressive debate taking place. Trimpa's going to be joining us today. We've got a whole series of them. Deep Singh Badesha's tomorrow. Patricia Calhoun is Wednesday. Vic Villa Thursday. And then CityCast on Friday. So it's going to be a really fun week as Billy's out, but he'll be back next Monday. Don't worry. I know some of you on the text messages want to make sure Bill's going to be coming back. Don't worry. He's still part of the family here. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the Democrat shift for Jews, because every Jew I knew growing up was pretty much a Democrat. And that has really changed in the last 2 years since October 7th. We'll talk about why you think that's happening, and should Jews support the Democrat Party? All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, October 22nd, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 9565 South University Boulevard in Highlands Ranch. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast. Pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, October 22nd at IHOP.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Iggy's wondering where Ian Silveri is. Oh, Ian, and that would be a fun one.
Yeah, it would. I was talking to Ian yesterday, so.
That's got to be a split household now, because I think I've heard Ian's working for Phil Weiser, and then I saw that Brittany endorsed Michael Bennett.
I think so.
Well, you know a split household. I guess you can continue to function.
I really know split household.
Joining us live in studio is Ted Trimpa. He's the principal and CEO of the Trimpa Group. Bill's out this week, so we've got a great lineup of progressive leaders that join us for the debate, for the discussion, because that's what this show is all about. It is not a monologue. It is not an echo chamber. The debate takes place, and you are welcome to jump in via phones by giving us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. Ted, I want to ask you, what happened with the Democrat Party and the Jews the last 2 years or so?
I think that a couple things have happened, and that is, one, the Republicans have been courting Israel for years. And, their main political action committee is called AIPAC, American Israel Political Action Committee, and it was seen very much as a Republican arm, and I think some Democrats were turned off by that, and the equivalent of AIPAC J Street for Democrats just isn't as strong, and I think that as younger people within the Democratic Party come up and have power, they aren't of the same ilk. You have the Mamdani, the guy that's running for mayor in New York, who has said some very pro-Palestinian things.
Well, he called for a global intifada.
So I think that a lot of that is just the age and the demography of how the Democratic Party's changed. I think if you go to older Democrats, if you go to Democrats like me, I'm very pro-Israel. I mean, just what's happening now and the level of anti-Semitism, and the fact that we're not looking at it and not thinking about it is really, really troubling to me.
How do you think that took root, though? Like, what was the cause of it?
I think part of it is what I was talking about for the demography piece, and then I think the Gaza situation and the fact that there were, so many people being murdered. It provided fuel to a fire for folks that wanted to say something around being pro-Palestinian, and it just took off. It was something that kind of had its own momentum, which is really unfortunate. And I think part of this too, and I'm going to say this, and my Democratic friends are going to hit me the next time they see me, and that is that the higher education system is liberal. And you're going to see more liberal things at higher education institutions, and you saw that in terms of the pro-Palestinian protests. And that in itself also started to feed it, because people like to be involved with something like that. So I think it's a kind of a convergence of those.
Yeah, here's what I see. The progressive, Marxist, oppressor versus oppressed worldview caught up to Democrat Jews. So you read the first page of the Communist Manifesto, right? It's like right there. All of history is oppressor versus oppressed. So if you embrace and I'm not just saying like traditional Democrat, but you start to go down the progressive, leftist, the whole world is just made up of oppressors versus oppressed. And we put everybody in those categories, and then we pit each other against each other. And then you look at Israel and the success of Israel in the Middle East. It's a really good country. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah,
but it's a flourishing country, and
it was life-changing for me.
Oh, was
life-changing? Yeah, I got rebaptized in the Jordan River.
Did you?
When I was in Israel, yeah.
Wow, very cool. So the progressives have built this entire worldview of oppressor versus oppressed. Israel's thriving. It's doing well. They must be the oppressor, because the only way you can do well in this world is if you oppress other people, and that's the way they think. And so Israel becomes the oppressor, Gaza becomes the oppressed, and when you have that framework, that moral framework, you greenlight the oppressed to pretty much do whatever they want against the oppressor.
See, I have to push back on that, Jeff. I don't see it all as oppressed and oppressor. I don't see this all going back to Marxism. I don't see this all going back to the Communist Manifesto. I mean, that's an easy trope for conservatives to go down. It's an easy path. It's an easy way to say, oh, the reason why all these progressives and all these Democrats are as whacked out as they are is because they're Marxists, and these are all people that are communists, and they all have Communist Manifestos sitting on their shelf at home. And I don't think it's that. I think that there is exasperation. I think that people are frustrated. They want something different. But to be progressive and to be for progressive policies such, we should have health care for all. We should have a reasonable immigration policy. We shouldn't be just detaining people off of the street, wearing masks. We have no idea who they are. We throw them in vans and take them away and ship them to a different country. Being against that and wanting, different policies, wanting a progressive tax code, that's not being Marxist. That's not from the first page of the Communist Manifesto.
Why the vitriol towards the Jews from college progressives here in America? It's not just a policy debate. It's like a deep-seated hatred they have.
That goes back to my comment about I think it's not just a foreign policy debate. Right. About what was happening in Gaza. I actually think that there's a strain of anti-Semitism, right. And it's raising its ugly head, and we keep allowing it to be fueled. And we have a history of what happens when you let that happen, and it's so hard to figure out why this starts, but it exists, and the first step is we acknowledge that it exists. Because that's how you fight back.
No, I appreciate that, but why do you think a kid born, so if you're in college right now, you're born in 2003, right? So, or 2004. Why do you think an American liberal born in 2003, 4, 5 is on the college campuses filled with a passionate anti-Semitism? How did that develop, you think?
And this is something we'd probably argue about. I would challenge it's all of these young kids. Yeah. I mean, any amount of them that's saying these kinds of things is too many, in my perspective. I think a lot of it is probably the time period in which they grew up. With the time period which I grew up, you still had people talking about what anti-Semitism is, mm-hmm. and that was a bad thing. I think that the environment we have today, we live a lot much more in the ditches, and we don't spend a heck of a lot of time on the road in the middle. And the social media, whatnot, feeds this playing off of more extremism. And I think, unfortunately, the anti-Semitism piece becomes part of the extremism around what's going on with the Palestinian people. And I do think the oppressed is something that attracts people, because they're like, oh my God, they seem like they're oppressed, so this is who we have to be for. I do think there's something there. I don't think that that's driven by Marxism. I think that's just driven by, it's the underdog, and you want to be for the underdog.
Perhaps. I think that's the Marxist worldview, and that's the philosophy, and I think it's pushed into everything and becomes the cornerstone of the progressive worldview, because you get into things like intersectionality, critical race theory. It's all part of that same framework that you have people that are being oppressed, and we must fight back. And when that becomes the foundational worldview, then you end up with situational ethics that allow, for instance, preventing Jews from going to class on college campuses or those types of things, because we need to step up against the oppressor. But Ted Trimpa's live in studio with us. He's the principal and CEO of the Trimpa Group. He's filling in for Bill Thorpe today. He's going to be joining me for the entirety of the morning. Text messages are hot. Ted, they love you. It's always so fun.
I'm sure they love me. Just let them know I'm not wearing red today. I typically wear red, and I don't have my sickle with me.
Ted's joining us live in studio. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Guys, for many of us, it might be happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair Look, we've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Pauls, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, or advancedhair.com. Advancedhair.com. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show. Ted Trimpa filling in on News Talk 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show, live in studios. Ted Trimpa, principal and CEO of the Trimpa Group. As we're wrapping up the first hour of the Jeff and Bill Show, the conversation is hot. I was fascinated by what the Democrats did to usher Elizabeth Epps and Tim Hernandez out the back door. They were disasters. They were absolute disasters. because they were just so openly anti-Semitic, from my opinion. And I'm sitting here going, okay, the leaders of the Democrat Party are Jared Polis, Michael Bennett, Jenna Griswold, Phil Weiser, all Jewish, and not light on their commitment to Judaism in some capacities. They're committed to it. So they're the leaders of the party, and you have Elizabeth Epps literally shouting down Jews from the state house. So was that the Democrat Party self-correcting
Yes.
on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we were horrified about it, what Epps did and what Hernandez did. This is not representative of the party. It's not representative of Colorado, and it's not representative of what this nation is. And so, the Jewish community here really responded. This wasn't just our electeds who were Jewish that were responding. It was the community responding and making sure that they didn't come back, and making sure that that kind of behavior is seen as not acceptable. And when we say not acceptable, that's what we mean, not acceptable. It was horrifying to watch that happen. And the fact that Epps went up and was cheering with Palestinian protesters in the gallery in the house.
Right.
That is the ultimate of disrespect of other members. The whole idea is that you can have different opinions, but you don't misuse the institution in order to try to express them. There are ways to do that. That's called going down to the well and saying what you want to say. And it's like, fine, and you're going to get held accountable for what you say.
Now, I do see a division within the Democrat Party. We're going to have Deep Singh Badesha on tomorrow. He's calling for John Hickenlooper to be primaried, for instance. He wants a more progressive Democrat Party. Are you guys going through like a Tea Party moment now where you guys are going to end up be more progressive and socialist?
I definitely think we're going through that period right now. I said that, it would have been 3 or 4 years ago, that the Democratic Party was going to go through much what the Republican Party went through. And we're going to go through it here in Colorado, in part because of what we built, which I was part of, where Democrats are winning everything. Well, when Democrats start winning everything, people are still going to fight. And what's happening now is the party's drifting farther left, and some of them believe the way that we keep winning is you go even farther left, and I disagree with that. But that has to play itself out. And I would say take a look at where the farther left candidates have been and how many races they've actually won. It's not that many. You look at that on a national level, the progressives, the AOC endorsed candidates, the Bernie Sanders endorsed candidates. How many of those candidates won? I could do it on one hand with fingers missing. It's just there's this fervor, this exasperation, and some of this we have to get it out. It's like therapy. And the question is can we get it out fast enough so that we can win? Because I think it's going to make it difficult for us in midterms. In addition to the fact you guys are changing the rules, in state by state by state by state.
Ted Trimpa. Yeah, we're the one changing the rules. I love it. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Join us by giving us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Can Ted Trimpa save the Democrat Party from themselves?
If only, man. If only, Jeff.
All right, we'll continue. Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS.